Well, you've got all the answers, and we are desperate for them. Tell us what is going on. Let's start in the secondary. It was weird to get two answers, I thought, from Ben Johnson that surprised me, that he was asked about Kyler Gordon, who he had brought up last week, and someone said, hey, are you getting him ready for to prepare for this game? And he said, that's the hope, which wasn't as ringing an endorsement as one might expect. And I know that Kyler Gordon has missed 14 games, but with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in concussion protocol, you would think you're going to need a Nickelback. Could it be Kyler Gordon, Brad, or could they somehow? I thought concussion protocol took a week. The game's on Saturday. Does that mean Chauncey Gardner-Johnson won't be out of concussion protocol? And I'm just curious who then would be the starting Nickelback.
Well, concussion protocol can take 7 days. There are, I think, what I would be best described as rare instances of guys clearing protocol in less time. Those are a little bit unusual. So I don't even want to speculate on his status other than to say he's in protocol right now, and we all know when the game is. Kyler Gordon, listen, I think he used the right word. I think he struck the proper tone because of the time that's been missed. You go back to the Saints game, which was in mid-October, and I believe Kyler's been on the practice field for a grand total of 9 practices. A couple of those he was limited for. So they haven't seen him practice in a month now. He's missed 4 consecutive games. I think that's the right tone to strike, knowing that they will activate the window. They'll be able to evaluate him in practice. It'll be a walkthrough today, followed by practices on Wednesday and Thursday, walkthrough Friday, ball game Sunday night.
So, Brad, I'm of the belief that bad playoff experience is better than no playoff experience because it can be a learning one. And so in that context, you look at Jordan Love. This will be his 4th playoff start. His last one last year was disastrous, 3 picks, but he was a guy that in his playoff debut a couple of years ago threw 3 touchdowns against the Cowboys in a shootout. I don't know what version of Jordan Love we're going to get. I don't know if the Bears can affect that or influence that as much defensively as they would like to. What do you expect from Jordan Love on Saturday night?
Well, that's, not only has he got postseason experience, right, which, as you said, bad experience is better than none, and he was really good. The first time he played in the postseason, you mentioned the 3 touchdowns. It was an absolute blowout of the Dallas Cowboys. Jordan Love has only played on the road in the playoffs. He's got 3 postseason starts, and all 3 of them are on the road. He's also played at San Francisco and did have a very poor game in Philadelphia last year when I think the Packers really struggled to hold up against that Eagles defensive front. But so I don't think the crowd is going to adversely affect him like any more than it normally would, because he's been in that position. He knows how to prepare for those stakes, and that should be able to benefit him and his Packers teammates a little bit anyway. And he's one of the few guys, like I think we talked about it yesterday, one of the few guys that's actually won a road playoff game that's in this playoff field. Like Aaron Rodgers has done it, and it's otherwise it's a lot of losing. The home field advantage is certainly magnified in the playoffs, and that's why the Bears getting the 2 seed was important.
So, Brad, back to the Nickelback. I'm sorry to keep harping on it. I'm just wondering who, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Gordon can't shake off the rust and that Chauncey Gardner isn't released from concussion protocol. Who's the nickel? Is that Nick McLeod? Does Tyrique Stevenson get new life? Do you move someone? Do you just go with your best corners and try to move somebody? What do they do at that nickel corner position?
Well, they've got a couple options, and my guess is that Nick McLeod would be the next man up. He was not active this past week because of an illness. I think he's the guy that was hit hardest in the locker room by what they've had going on since shortly before the trip to San Francisco. He's an option, or Jalen Jones, who we saw get called upon in the game. We certainly know that Josh Blackwell has been in that spot previously. I mean, Dallas Flowers has played. There's no shortage of candidates if they got that thin, but I think they're going to see if they can possibly squeeze, any and everything they can get out of Kyler Gordon in this spot. As far as Tyrique Stevenson, I mean, a ton of questions about why did Tyrique Stevenson not play on Sunday, which is a little bit of a departure from, I think, the week before at San Francisco. Why isn't Jalen Johnson playing more? Johnson got the entire first half of that game at Levi's Stadium, and then Tyrique opened the third quarter, and I think Tyrique got 18 snaps against the 49ers.
But if
you're looking at it,
that's
you're
why
Jalen's a month in.
Yeah, but his answer didn't pass the smell test. It wasn't that he didn't play enough, is that he didn't play at all.
Yeah.
Well, but his snap count had been they were ramping Jalen up, and as they ramped him up, Jalen's numbers were going down. Listen.
Doesn't seem right, Brad. You know it. It doesn't seem right.
Okay. It may seem a little off, Dave, but Tyrique's been on the field an awful lot this season. He's logged close to 600 snaps for a defense that is 29th in yards allowed, 28th in yards per passing play. I mean, I could go on and on where they're at defensively. Let's not pretend like Tyrique is the missing link to high-caliber pass defense here, right?
I gotcha. I'm not doing that. I don't want to overstate his significance. At the same time, when you have a compromised secondary, you need all hands on deck. And right now, they're compromised because of the absence of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And you look at the options.
Whoa. No, I mean, they're compromised because they just haven't played. Well, Gardner-Johnson has got 2 interceptions and 3 sacks, and he made an impact right away. And basically since that first Green Bay game, which was week 14, we've seen that when he's in coverage, there's a big problem. Like he can't turn and run.
Yeah, that I'm not questioning that, but Tyrique Stevenson, I think one of the problems they're having is that Nahshon Wright is really good when he gets takeaways, and when he doesn't, he is not good enough to be on the field. And so you just wonder, have they made I can't help but ask the question, Brad, do you know that Tyrique, who is kind of a high maintenance guy, let's just be honest about it, is he unhappy with his playing time, and is that why he didn't play at all in that game last week?
You know what? I have no idea. I just know that his playing time had been trending kind of downward a little bit, and I think he's smart enough to be able to read the room there, especially with them having the success as a team that they've had this season. So I'd be a little surprised if this was something that was related to that. I really would. Shocked, no, but probably a little bit surprised. So we'll have to see if he gets some time this week, and then who do you pull out a little bit? Is it Jalen who didn't play well the other night?
Limited snaps.
Or is it okay?
Ration those.
So Nishan's going to go full game.
Rotate. You got 3 guys, better than 2. You rotate them. Nashawn Wright is a liability against the run. He's not a willing tackler. Jalen Johnson's making business decisions. You have a healthy body in Tyrique Stevenson. You can find a way to use him more effectively than you have.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and that could be, with Wright, it's just, he hasn't played the run well, and lately I thought he did. I thought he was doing that pretty well middle of the season, and then it's just like he gets turned around with the short area quickness, like when things flip.
Yes,
it's difficult for him to catch up, and these teams have seen, like everybody's seen it. There's nothing that's being hidden on film. Like somebody suggested, like the Bears' game plan for the Lions game was because they didn't want to show anything.
Yeah, vanilla game plan.
The Packers come up.
Yeah.
So the Packers have no recall of what happened.
That's amusing.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or
But
San Francisco, and like it's the NFL. Like you got to put your best stuff out there. So we'll see. Maybe Al Harris will help shed some light on this tomorrow. I wouldn't bank on that. They're not going to share their strategy or their plan for some type of rotation with Green Bay. But I just know this. I'll reiterate it one more time. Stevenson's playing time was trending down. It's not like they took a guy who had been playing in a role that had been static, like the role had not changed, and all of a sudden you didn't see him out there at all. Like it had been trending toward him playing less and less.
what about, just generally speaking, Theo Benedict had to start that game. We saw a photo of the bruise on Ozzy Trapillo's leg that looked awful. I know he's got technically a knee and a quad. Is he going to be back in the lineup? What about Roma Dunze? We've heard talk of him, and he did practice at the end of the week. And
we
was
know he can
questionable.
celebrate.
And we was jumping up and down. Seemed to get a lot of people fired up. Is he back on the? Is he back in the on the 53? What happens this week? You got to wait and see as it unfolds.
Well, Rome's been on the 53 all along. They've got an open roster.
I mean the game day. Yeah.
They're at 52. So they could bump Kyler Gordon up at the end of the week without having to make a corresponding transaction. Ben Johnson has said all along that Odunze, they liked the timetable he was on. They were comfortable with it. They felt good about it. He's not given a ton of answers when he gets specific injury questions. So I think some people get frustrated. Well, why wasn't the coach asked this? Well, you know what? If he's not given a reply, and that's not original for coaches to not want to share much injury information, you really don't want to then necessarily waste your whatever questions you do have with him on ones that you're going to get a no reply on. But so Odunze practiced limited last Friday, which certainly looked like a move to get him ramped back up for this game. So I would expect chances are good that we'll see him. And as far as the left tackle situation, Trapillo was limited last week based on how he moved pregame Saturday, watching how he was getting ready. It just he was a little clunky. So that leads me to believe that last week he was probably quite limited in practice, and we'll have to we'll have to see how another couple days of rest have maybe benefited him. Fortunately, the playing a Packers team that the pass rush has changed dramatically since Micah Parsons went out in Week 15.
So, Brad, PFF, Pro Football Focus, named Ozzie Trapillo as the most impactful Bears rookie, which I thought was surprising given how much contribution they've gotten from all of the rookie class. But in your mind, after watching the game again, do you think there's a drop-off between Trapillo and Benedict? And do you think that if he is, does it matter who plays that position Saturday night?
Who plays that position Saturday night isn't going to be the difference in a win or loss, right?
Okay.
Let's be real here. You're not talking about going from Trent Williams in his prime to somebody who's barely played football, right? I'd push back. I don't want to take anything away from Trapillo, but most impactful rookie for the Bears, that's when your numbers system's gotten a little out of.
They got 15 touchdowns.
Didn't say I
rookies.
agree with it.
It's a
I'm just
team
sharing.
record. This segment with Brad Biggs is sponsored by Estwing Professional Tools, made in the USA for over 100 years. Estwing.com. Brad, what did you think of Ben Johnson saying yesterday again that the defense played well enough to win?
Well, he said he's going to keep the main thing, points allowed, and when that's the main thing, 19. You got to be able to get to.
Yep.
You got to be able to get to 20 against the Lions defense that had been a sieve, especially against the pass. For a while now, right? And had been missing some key guys. So from that standpoint, I think he's right. And I think the expectations for the defense have been realistic, and the whole bend don't break is worked for them really well in some games, and then not whatsoever. In other games, they're able to turn back Detroit in the red zone.
You hate
and,
that gave
them a chance.
They couldn't get off the field.
Yeah.
They couldn't get off the field.
And they couldn't stay on the field, so I guess that's the answer.
Right. Which that's a legit chicken or egg discussion there, right?
Yeah.
What's the bigger problem? Can't stay on the field, or which happened first? Couldn't stay on the field, or couldn't get off the field? And that we talked about it yesterday. The first half for that offense since the first Green Bay game has been at an unacceptable level. It's why they've been trailing in these games. You pull the Week 15 mini bye against Cleveland out, and the numbers are a little bit jarring in terms of inability to stay on the field.